On this Wednesday night, the man who killed 6 people at a Quebec City mosque is now a convicted murderer. As the judge read the names of the victims, Alexandre Bissonnette admitted his guilt, and a silent courtroom was punctured by the sobs of family and friends. So how does a grieving community now begin to move forward?
Also tonight, what a historic agreement means for a Métis community in Alberta.
And where in the world to send our trash? Tonight's focus in our series, Reduce, Reuse, Rethink. This is The National.
In Quebec City today, a long wait for justice took a very sudden turn. It's been 14 months since Alexandre Bissonnette walked into a mosque shortly after Sunday prayers and started shooting. He killed 6 men, seriously wounded 5 others, and all for what? The attack plunged an entire community into grief and fear. But as the victims' names were read aloud in the courtroom today, a dramatic plea from the accused. The CBC's Sudha Krishnan shows us what happened.
A high-profile trial that was expected to last months wrapped up with an unexpected twist.
We didn't know what was going to happen. We never know what's going on in somebody's head.
Amir Belkacemi's father was among the 6 men killed.
We kind of feel pretty relieved that the trial won't have to take place. It's a good thing for us. It's a good thing for everyone in the community.
The dramatic moment came after the 28-year-old suspect initially entered a not guilty plea on Monday. Then hours later, he asked to change that plea. The judge wanted to make sure Alexandre Bissonnette understood what he was doing, so he ordered a psychiatric evaluation. The gunman's lawyer says Bissonnette wanted to make things right.
It was important for him to prevent the many victims and society from reliving through the trial the terrible events that took place on January 29th, 2017.
So today, after the judge read all 12 charges and the victims' names one after the other, Bissonnette pleaded guilty. He then read a written statement as the victims' families wept in the courtroom. He said, "I bitterly regret what I did, the lives that I destroyed, the grief and the immense pain that I inflicted on so many people. In spite of what has been said about me, I am not a terrorist nor an Islamophobe, rather a person who was carried away by fear. I would like to ask you for forgiveness for all the harm that I have done to you, but I know that what I did is unforgivable." Ayman Darbali, who was shot by Bissonnette, is not sure if he accepts his apology. We will have to see if he is sincere, he says. That's between him and God. The president of the mosque says despite the guilty plea, his members and families of the victims are still in mourning and that it won't be over for them until Alexandre Bissonnette is sentenced. Sudha Krishnan, CBC News, Quebec City.
These are the 6 men who died the day of the attack. All were born in other countries and chose Canada to build their lives and raise their families. They ranged in age from 39 to 60 years old, and altogether, they leave 17 children behind without fathers. And beyond those families dealing with great loss, think about those 5 people who were seriously injured, what it's been like to recover physically and to pick up the pieces of their lives. You heard from Ayman Darbali in our story a moment ago. He was shot 7 times during the attack. He's paralyzed now from the chest down. Well, the community has rallied to help him. A Muslim charity has raised more than $400,000 to allow his family to buy a home adapted to his needs. And earlier this month, local musicians played at a benefit concert to further that cause. But Adrian, as we heard, whether a part of the broader healing process will include offering forgiveness to the attacker, that is not an easy question to answer.
No, and asking for forgiveness or apologizing sincerely, these are acts that matter to so many people. And today, certainly residential school survivors were hoping to get an apology from Pope Francis, but they won't be getting one. The Catholic Church ran a majority of the schools, and as Tom Perry explains, the disappointment in the Vatican's decision is widespread.
Obviously, I'm disappointed with the Catholic Church's decision not to apologize.
A prime minister who knows a thing or two about delivering apologies thinks saying sorry shouldn't be this hard.
We know that taking responsibility for past mistakes and asking forgiveness is something that is core to our values as Canadians.
Justin Trudeau made an appeal to Pope Francis at the Vatican last year. This week, the Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops issued a letter. The Holy Father is aware of the findings of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which he takes seriously, it reads. But as for an apology, after carefully considering the request, the letter says, the Pope felt he could not personally respond.
Pope Francis has already apologized. He's expressed regret and sorrow for injustices to Indigenous people.
Church officials point out Francis asked forgiveness in 2015 for crimes against Indigenous people throughout the Americas. His predecessor, Pope Benedict, met with residential school survivors in 2009 and expressed sorrow for their deplorable abuse.
Sorrow is never enough. One has to take responsibility for the harm that was done.
Catholic groups that ran residential schools have issued apologies over the years, but a statement from the Pope delivered in Canada was a key call to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
We heard repeatedly from survivors of abuse in Catholic residential schools that they needed to hear an apology from the Church, and they'd never heard one.
The Pope is expected to eventually visit Canada. When that happens, calls for an apology will no doubt grow louder. Residential school survivors and their supporters say their fight isn't over. Tom Perry, CBC News, Ottawa.
Securing an apology from the Vatican is just one of the 94 calls to action made by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. CBC News has an exclusive progress report on each of those measures and where they stand. You can find it at cbcnews.ca/beyond94. The Métis community of Fort McKay has accomplished a historic first, buying the Alberta land that the hamlet sits on. It's the beginning of a break with the past and an investment in the future. Rafi Boudjikanian asked people there what it means.
Was your neighboring First Nation, was it already well ahead in development of the Métis Nation when you were growing up?
Yes, they started to get, their housing in place, and their opportunities were started to advance further than what ours were at the time.
Call it a tale of two nations. Felix Fakeney was raised in the Fort McKay Métis community, but remembers the First Nation next door. Independent, self-governed, relatively wealthy.
We didn't have the freedom to do what we wanted with our land. We didn't quite have the same opportunities they did.
Opportunities to develop property, now possible after the Métis community bought its land from the province of Alberta.
We want to kind of start converting the older units into something more modern.
Dwayne Roth is a lawyer who helped negotiate the deal. He says the Métis did not want to build on land they didn't own, but now they're building more housing, a community pavilion, and that staple of small-town Canadiana, all uncharted territory for Métis people.
I don't know of any other Métis community that has done it anywhere in Canada.
Fort McKay Métis are fairly uniquely placed. Their home is a short drive from oil sands developments in Fort McMurray, where many members are employed. Ponying up the kind of money for land may not be easy for other Métis in Canada. The Fort McKay Métis say it was a challenge for them too, until 2016. When a landmark Supreme Court decision found the federal government has the same obligations toward Métis people as it does toward other Indigenous nations. The Fort McKay Métis say that ruling helped move negotiations forward, and they hope other Métis nations can figure out their own way to claim their lands.
In today's world, we're kind of laying that foundation for other Métis organizations in the future to be able to use in asserting their Indigenous rights.
Felix Fakeney is already thinking about tomorrow and beyond.
Youth coming up, the kids growing up like my son, that creates all those opportunities for him and the opportunities I didn't have.
Rafi Bujikanian, CBC News, Fort McKay Métis Community, Alberta.
So that's one example of how a Supreme Court decision can change the landscape. And let's turn now to another ruling that's had a very different impact. Across this country, criminal cases have been thrown out of court as a result of the so-called Jordan decision by the Supreme Court of Canada in 2016. We've tallied up the number ahead of the government's plans to present what it hopes will help fix the problems. Trial delays so long they are unconstitutional. The Jordan decision was a seismic event, shaking faith in the justice system itself. Here's the brief. So what is the Jordan decision? Barrett Jordan was charged with drug offenses and then trapped in a legal limbo, unable to get a trial date for 4 years. The Supreme Court said that was a violation of his charter rights, and it put hard limits on how long prosecutors have to try criminal cases. 18 months in provincial courts, 30 in superior courts. CBC News has counted more than 400 cases since then, including some for murder. They've been stayed because they missed that deadline, most of them eventually thrown out. And as Carolyn Dunn explains, the impact of the decision has spread beyond the criminal law.
In a wooded lot a half-hour north of Edmonton, Sandra Paraderi is living a life more rustic than she ever could have imagined. Firewood for heat from a wood stove.
And no running water,
No running water, no electricity.
Paraderi's common-law husband died 4 years ago, but there's a legal battle over the estate. She can't get her rightful share until it's settled. She's broke, living mainly on a survivor's pension and the goodwill of others. Her lawyer says if that case goes to trial, it probably won't be scheduled before 2021.
I get it. I got to start over, but I didn't think I was going to have to start over from under the barrel, not even the bottom. It's twisted.
Hers is one of an untold number of civil cases facing lengthy delays, systemic delays that in some jurisdictions seem to grow only longer with each passing month.
Part of the problem comes courtesy of the Supreme Court of Canada in what's known as the Jordan decision of July 2016. It ruled criminal trials must be completed within 18 months for relatively minor cases or 30 months for more serious offenses. The system is straining to meet those deadlines, and in some provinces, they're using civil court resources to do it. Recently retired Chief Justice of Alberta, Neil Whitman, says the civil court system is suffering as a result.
You cannot keep up the pace that this court is presently being subjected to for long periods of time and get the quality of justice that I think the public deserves.
In Calgary, for example, the wait for a civil trial in 2016 averaged 92 weeks. This year, that wait has doubled. Alberta is perhaps least prepared to deal with all of this because the federal government has failed to fill a dozen judicial vacancies.
Maybe one of those positions has been filled so far, maybe one.
Mark Feehan is president of the Alberta Civil Trial Lawyers Association and Sandra Paraderi's lawyer.
You don't want alleged murderers walking the streets, and we all understand that. But the people that have non or less serious, like family law or estate arguments or personal injury, they all just kind of got put on the back burner.
The people like me, I don't even think we're on the back burner. I think we've been put on the side to cool.
Where she counts the days, waiting for justice. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, near Edmonton.
So courts stretched thin, those accused of crimes waiting years for their day in court. A Supreme Court ruling that forces action and creates commotion. The Jordan decision sounds unprecedented, but it is not.
In what's become known as the Askoff decision, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that an accused should be able to go to trial within a reasonable time.
Before the Jordan decision, there was the 1990 Askoff decision. Back then, the Supreme Court suggested anything more than 8 months was an unreasonable delay. In Ontario, in particular, the impact was dramatic. The province scrambled to appoint more judges, approve more money for courts, but the accused in 25,000 criminal cases walked away.
How do you feel right now?
I got a permanent smile on my face. I feel very good. It's all over.
In 1992, the Supreme Court softened its position and the judicial chaos subsided.
It would have been helpful if the original Askoff decision had clearly stated
that the principles set out there were principles and were not rigid timelines.
But the problems that sparked the Askov decision got worse across the country. And decades later, rigid timelines for criminal trials are back, and so are the consequences. Well, Ian Carter knows a lot about these issues, a defense lawyer in Ottawa and also vice chair of the Canadian Bar Association's Criminal Justice Section. And Ian, I know the CBA has been talking to the federal government about how to reduce the delays in court. Give me one example of something you hope to see tomorrow.
Well, one of the things that we've recommended is to deal differently with more minor offenses and what we call administration of justice offenses. So I'll give you an example. An individual is arrested and charged, released on bail. Part of those bail conditions is not to drink alcohol because the individual has a dependency with alcohol problem. He then goes out and he's caught consuming alcohol, and he's arrested again and brought back for more charges, more court time, more use of prosecutors and defense lawyers. And that clogs up the system. By dealing with those kinds of matters outside of our regular criminal justice system in an administrative way is going to save a huge amount of time and resources.
It sounds relatively simple, but sometimes in the criminal justice system, simple things take a lot of time. Do you think that's a change that will be made?
I think that that's something that they've been talking about, and particularly dealing with the issue of administration of justice offenses, and I would expect to see something in the legislation tomorrow on that.
And the CBA has put together, and I think you were involved in this, a kind of a top 10 list. It includes things like what you just mentioned, also things that will cost a lot of money, like more judges. But tell me so far what impact the Jordan decision has had that you see when you're in Ontario courts.
Well, I think it's quite, to be quite frank, it's sent shockwaves through the justice system. All participants that I see, from judges to prosecutors to defense lawyers, it's been a wake-up call. And you see, in terms of new procedures locally, in terms of the way cases are treated, there's a huge attention on delay issues that, quite frankly, didn't exist before. Part of the reason in Jordan was to shake the participants out of their complacency, and I think it's had that effect already.
And I've heard similar stories from judges right across the country. Ian Carter, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now here's what else we're working on tonight for The National. From refugee to prominent businessman, we examine the legacy of Peter Munk.
We continue our special CBC News series into the global recycling crunch. Last night, we told you why China is turning away the world's garbage, so now what?
And they're coming to Canada for a second chance, but a CBC News investigation reveals some people seeking asylum in Quebec may have been exploited while looking for work.
There was no training to speak of. Basically, somebody would show you something once, and as long as you could kind of keep doing it, they would just keep pushing you to do it faster.
When the U.S. decided last year to end its temporary protection for Haitians displaced by the earthquake in 2010, it prompted waves of asylum seekers across the border into this country, into Canada. But they entered a clogged system that meant a long wait for a refugee decision and a tough time finding work and making ends meet. But CBC News has learned it's been especially tough for some exploited in a shadowy world of temp agency work. Jayla Bernstein has one man's devastating story.
While the city of Montreal sleeps, certain metro stations are a hub of activity. Inside, temp agency crews wait for workers to arrive. Paulo, whose name we've changed for his safety, says he was recruited at a metro station in September when a man walked up to him and offered him a job.
Les pas un problème en aller juste l'enjeu de permis ou tout gain job là normal les demander si me coucher permis déjà me dit oui.
He was collecting social assistance but agreed to work, desperate to pay back the thousands it cost him to travel from Haiti to Canada for asylum. On that first morning, Paulo says he squeezed into a van headed for a pork plant. On the way, the van stopped, and he and others were handed slips of paper with a name and a social insurance number on them.
On a regardé les papiers, on dit c'est quoi ça? Là, il dit que dame dit oui, on est allé bailler en temps, on a réception. On n'a rien du tout.
$10 an hour cash is what the temp agency paid Paolo to work at Sherrington Meats. This former employee worked for a temp agency owned by the same man Paolo worked for. We're protecting his identity because he's afraid speaking out could cost him his current job.
There was no training to speak of. Basically, somebody would show you something once, and as long as you could kind of keep doing it, they would just keep pushing you to do it faster.
That's exactly what Paolo says happened to him in October, when he was assigned to work on a machine that slices fat off pork.
L'arrivée avec la machine, je me dis, une machine, la première fois, moi, machine, elle dit, oui, mais comment vous faites, travail. Après, la machine a eu un problème, moi, les chefs là me disent ça, elle dit, oui, la machine a bon, travail. Après quelques minutes, l'accident arrivé fait.
His hand got caught and the flesh was ripped away.
Pile sang, regarde sur moi, bien avec sang.
He was rushed to hospital and surgeons performed a skin graft. Now he struggles with everyday tasks. The president of the pork plant says he remembers the accident. That's the first time he says he found out that Paolo had been working illegally.
J'espère que c'est juste ça, monsieur, parce que c'est pas dans mon intérêt de faire travailler des gens qui n'ont pas leur permis pour travailler.
He insists, either way, that Paolo was properly trained. CBC News used a hidden camera to film the temp agency meeting up with workers one morning. We asked if they hire people without work permits.
Permis de travail, numéro d'assurance sociale, carte d'assurance maladie, sinon tu ne travailles pas ici. Tout le monde ici a des papiers, désolé.
We traced the social insurance number this temp agency gave to Paolo, and we found the real person it belongs to. He told us he worked for a temp agency last year, an agency that belongs to the same person Paolo worked for. He had no idea his personal information was being used for another worker. We tried several times to get an interview with temp agency owner Hector Rodriguez. He didn't answer our calls, but in an email, he denied all allegations and said they only hire workers with work permits. Paolo's now focused on recovery, which could take a year. This Montreal labor lawyer is helping him file a workers' compensation claim.
There is a problem here in Canada. I think that there is a system in which we are using people, vulnerable people, to do jobs, precarious jobs.
But the ordeal hasn't tainted Paolo's image of Canada.
C'est pas Canada qui fait pas pays Canada qui fait ça, j'ai juste un accident. Je n'ai rien à reprocher avec Canada. Moi-même, c'est le premier pays du monde.
A country that he hopes to work in legitimately one day. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Montreal.
Asylum seekers are allowed to work in Canada. First, they have a medical examination. Then they can apply for a work permit and a social insurance number. The government says it normally takes 30 days to process a work permit application.
Still ahead on The National, we continue our special CBC News series on recycling. And tonight we'll go to Britain, a country searching for a solution to its coffee cup problem.
Coffee drinkers in this country throw away 2.5 billion of these cups in a year. This is the only place transforming them into paper that gets made into shopping bags.
Tonight on The National, for the first time since she was shot by the Taliban, Malala Yousafzai is back in Pakistan. A Pakistani TV station aired video of the young Nobel laureate, now 20 years old, landing just hours ago in Islamabad. She's expected to hold meetings with the Prime Minister, but other details of the trip are being kept secret. An emotional day in an Ottawa courtroom today as journalist Amanda Lindhout testified at her kidnapper's sentencing hearing. Lindhout said the 15 months she spent in captivity in Somalia left her suicidal, and she still wakes up screaming. Her kidnapper, Ali Omar Otter, faces a possible life sentence, but he asked the court today for forgiveness, saying he's a changed man. Some major progress announced today in the UK investigation into the poisoning of a former Russian spy and his daughter. British police now believe the pair first came into contact with the nerve agent at Sergei Skripal's front door. They found traces of the poison in lots of places, but police say the highest concentration was right on the door itself. British officials blame the Russian government. Moscow has denied any involvement.
Well, the UK has a plastics problem. People there go through 13 billion plastic drink bottles a year. A lot of those bottles recycled at plants like this in East London. But more than 3 billion get tossed into the trash or onto the streets. So to change that, the British government announced today it is introducing a deposit return scheme. The details are still being worked out, but essentially consumers could get a small amount of cash when they return their empty bottles. So we'll come back to the UK in just a moment, but it's not the only country where the plastic is piling up. CBC News has launched a new series exploring how we can reduce, reuse, and rethink recycling. Tonight, Karen Pauls shows us why modern lifestyles have changed what Canadians toss in their blue bins and why governments are paying the price.
Sarah Ray Ans does whatever she can to reduce her environmental footprint, including recycling.
We have our egg cartons, we have our plastic packaging for fruit, but also jerky. I think it's about the same. The things that I'm kind of never sure about, but I huck in just in case.
Ans gets her news online, so there's no newsprint in her blue box.
No newspapers? No newspapers, no.
There are a few tin cans and a glass jar, items the blue box was originally designed to deal with. But now there's also a lot of plastic.
Even if it was just one kind of plastic, I have no idea if I could recycle either of those plastics. It is getting quite complicated.
Two-income families and more single households mean a growing appetite for takeout, prepared food, and individualized portions. It all comes in convenience packaging, often made of composite material.
It can be a very confusing issue for consumers who are using these products. It feels like a different type of plastic.
Composite material is harder to sort, harder to recycle.
If you were to melt this down, the finished product will have type of the main plastic, but it'll also have contamination from the other plastics. So it's a lesser grade, and you can do less things with that type of recycled plastic.
And that makes it harder to sell.
It means governments need to invest in technology that can adapt to new kinds of packaging. But that comes with a price tag, and it's forcing municipalities to come up with new ways to fund their recycling programs, like mandating producers to pick up more of the costs.
When we think about the management of material, producers really should be paying that cost. They're putting it onto the market, and why should municipalities be financially responsible for it?
So far, BC is the only province where producers are 100% responsible for recycling costs, finding markets, and every other aspect of recycling. Ontario and Manitoba are also moving in that direction. For Cal Lacan, it comes down to this. Municipalities need to make recycling easy.
If you make recycling inconvenient, people won't participate.
So you're on the third floor of a walk-up. How hard is it to get this to where it needs to go to be recycled?
It seems like it shouldn't be that hard, but it is definitely one of those things where, especially in the middle of winter when it's super cold, you have to put on your coat, the door locks automatically when you leave. Yeah, this is almost more than one trip down.
Even when it's not easy, for Sarah Ans, it's always worth the effort. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Last night, we took you to China, showing you how much and how messy the business of recycling foreign waste is in that country. But China says it's not taking in that garbage anymore, a decision that has changed the way countries around the world have to handle their waste, a decision most weren't ready for. So tonight, we're asking, without China, what's happening to the world's waste? These are pictures now banned in China, but they've left their mark. They're from a 2016 documentary, Plastic China, about families who delicately, dangerously live off what we throw out. Kids who've learned that by burning plastic, the smell of the toxic smoke can tell them what it's made of and how it needs to be sorted. If this makes you wince, you might understand what happened when this documentary was reportedly viewed by one very important person in Beijing.
We strongly believe that President Xi Jinping saw this movie and was also horrified by the thought that this practice was taking place in his country. His belief is that we need to now cut off solid waste imports totally.
Not long after the documentary came out and millions in China saw it, the country declared it would largely close its doors to the world's waste. Then the documentary was blocked from online services. The rest of the world left reeling by China's move, which includes banning scrap that could be reused. In other words, if perfectly usable material is turned away, Chinese manufacturers may have to start making or buying new plastics. Then there are the ships that abide by the rules yet are turned away at Chinese ports out of confusion. They wander the oceans. Some of the waste they carry will go to landfill or be burned. And look at what started happening mid-2017 when the Chinese announcement was made. Plastic exports started dropping from the U.S. to China, but started surging towards Southeast Asia. Thailand up 400%, Malaysia up more than 200%. Can they handle it? Consider where the phenomenon of ocean plastics originates, much to the horror of the founder of Plastic Free Cambodia.
90 to 95% of those are coming from just 10 rivers in the world, and 8 of those are in Asia. If we can't manage the waste that's here at the moment, and then we have a massive influx of other waste coming from different countries, I think it's just it's already pretty out of control. It's only going to get to like extreme levels.
If these countries don't have time to develop safe systems to handle waste, China's old problem will just become their new one. Now, all of this may sound a bit dire, but there is hope. Let's take you back to the UK. People there drink a lot of coffee, often on the go. Each minute, about 500 used cups are tossed out and only a fraction get recycled. But as Thomas Degla shows us, the Brits seem determined to change that.
Like black lava flowing from a bottomless volcano, some of this hot pulp comes from an unlikely source. They call it cup cycling. New technology in old surroundings. A steaming 265-year-old paper mill in northern England churning out rolls and rolls using loads of used coffee cups.
So this process is unique in the UK, and there's not too many plants around the world that have this capability.
They're emptied and packed together. Every bale here contains about 50,000 cups, some apparently waiting since the holidays for a new lease on life.
Coffee drinkers in this country throw away 2.5 billion of these cups in a year. This is the only place transforming them into paper that gets made into shopping bags. For every one of these bags, 1 cup has been recycled.
Before that bag is made, the cups are loaded and the transformation begins. The machine's separating the paper cup from its plastic liner, heating the pulp, adding color, and something old is new again. About 20% of that huge roll of paper comes from used cups. And there's no shortage of those in this coffee-obsessed country.
I actually do have a reusable cup, but I'm on the coffee run for the office, so we're not really as efficient as we should be.
If you look at the litter in the streets, there's loads of it around this paper.
In London, it can seem like there's a cafe on every corner. But what to do with all those cups? The sealed plastic liner inside stops the paper from getting soggy, but also makes it hard to separate and recycle. A problem leading to creative solutions.
Skinny wet latte. Some coffee shops will give customers a few cents off for using a reusable cup. But what about paying more for a disposable one?
That's what Parliament's Environmental Audit Committee suggested as a solution.
We heard from psychologists that people are much more receptive to a charge than they are to a discount. People don't want to lose that money.
Her committee recommended a 25-pence latte levy, about 40 cents a cup. The government rejected the plan, but it spurred some coffee shops to start giving discounts to customers switching to reusable cups.
So we just keep going until people say no.
Martin Myerscough's idea goes one step further.
We then put in a very thin layer of plastic like that.
His invention, a new kind of cup, allows the paper and the plastic to be separated much easier for simpler recycling.
We've got people in South Africa want it, we've got people in Europe want it, we've actually got a Canadian company called us up this week, which I can't name, but you would know. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's still a long way off from mass distribution, though. And back at the paper mill, they're only converting a fraction of the 500 million cups the plant can handle in a year.
There isn't the supply chain there in order to collect those cups and bring them to us. The problem I'd like to have is to run out of capacity.
For Britain's coffee cup problem, this is one solution, but there's no quick fix. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, Kendal, England.
We're going to continue bringing you stories of the Global Recycling Challenge in the weeks ahead, including some of the good ideas out there to make a little less mess on the planet. If you want to weigh in on this series, CBC News has created a special Facebook page. Comment on the stories and share your ideas on how we can rethink recycling.
Mining magnate Peter Munk is being remembered tonight for his risk-taking entrepreneurial spirit and philanthropic generosity. The founder of Barrick Gold died today in Toronto at the age of 90. Escaping Nazi-occupied Hungary during the Second World War, Munk felt he could never do enough to repay what Canada did for him. Jacqueline Hansen looks back at his life and legacy.
A focused business leader who truly believed in Canada. Peter Munk came to this country when he was 20 years old. His family fled Hungary when it was invaded by Nazis.
They'd come from a wealthy family in Hungary, but he arrived here penniless.
From nothing, he became a resilient entrepreneur.
When he went after something, the whole of the rest of the world ceased to exist.
Munk started an electronics business, a hotel chain, and real estate ventures.
It was a very rapid rise from being an immigrant boy.
That was just the beginning. His biggest career success was Barrick Gold. He bet on a mine in Nevada and won.
The largest gold mining company in the world. That's got to sound pretty good.
It does.
His success enabled him to do much more.
I like to leave something behind that makes a difference to Canada.
Munk donated nearly $300 million.
He didn't just give the money and say, give me a call, let me know how it's going. He was deeply engaged in everything that we did.
He gave $175 million to the Peter Munk Cardiac Center.
Someone would come up to him and say, are you Peter Munk? And I've seen this happen when he was in the hospital. He'd say yes, and if the response was, thank you, your center saved my mother's life, he told me frequently that brought him more joy than anything else.
Munk also wanted Canadians to think outside of their country.
Peter's career, his life, is really a roadmap of how to make Canada matter globally.
His name lives on in the Munk School of Global Affairs at the University of Toronto and the Munk Debates.
Looked me right in the eye and said, Rudyard, these are going to be world-class debates.
Dedicated and focused, not only on his success, but also on Canada's. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Two brothers who went to war for this country are sadly emblematic of what can happen to Canada's veterans when they've come home from battle but still can't escape it. This country's former soldiers have an elevated risk of addiction and suicide compared to other Canadians. Harry Forrestal met a New Brunswick family that knows this all too well.
So what's this, Maureen?
This one is Ron's.
2 silver crosses in memory of 2 sons.
And this is Ryan's.
These are the medals no mother wants to receive, awarded to the loved ones of soldiers who have died from their military service. Most perish in battlefields far from home, but Maureen and Peter Anderson watched their son slip away before their eyes, right here on Canadian soil.
Neither one of them were the same when they came back. But Ryan, I didn't think...
He died with Ronnie.
I think, yes, I think his life went at the same time.
Ron and Ryan Anderson were veterans of Afghanistan. In 2007, they both deployed as sergeants with H Company, the 2nd Battalion Royal Canadian Regiment. This was a shooting war. hot, savage, and unrelenting. Canadian troops were dying. 6 killed on Easter Sunday that year when their light armored vehicle hit an IED. One of the dead, a close friend of the brothers. Ryan Anderson was dispatched to the grisly scene. A couple of weeks later, Ron Anderson was part of a convoy attacked by a suicide bomber, and a day after that, Ryan's own armored vehicle would strike an IED. After their return from Afghanistan, both men were diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Ron struggled with his treatment for years. In 2014, he shot himself in his garage. Ryan, 5 years younger, was devastated.
So I knew then it was going to hit poor Ryan. You know, he just gave up. He lost his best friend, his brother.
Like his brother before him, Ryan struggled. He was withdrawn and depressed. The battery of medications prescribed by doctors, antidepressants, antipsychotics, anti-anxiety drugs, didn't seem to be helping. Sheldon Roberts served with both Anderson brothers in Afghanistan as a sniper. Dealing with his own PTSD, he could see his friend Ryan spiraling out of control.
So when Ronnie passed away, Ryan took that really hard, and he just kind of secluded himself.
Then, last October, came the call the Andersons dreaded.
And he said, Ryan's here visiting me. I said, oh, that's good. You know, I was glad he was. He said, no, he's not breathing. Well, I just almost passed out.
Ryan Anderson's heart had stopped. He was 38 years old. Along with his many medications for PTSD, a toxicology report revealed traces of cocaine and the powerful illicit opioid carfentanil. Veterans Affairs won't comment on the Anderson story specifically, but insists PTSD treatments do work.
I've treated personally hundreds of military members and veterans, and I know that most people, they work hard in treatment despite sometimes very disabling symptoms, and they do recover.
Now, with both sons gone, Peter and Maureen's 6 grandchildren are fatherless. They don't know what the military or Veterans Affairs could have done differently to keep Ron and Ryan alive, but with their eldest grandson already planning to enlist after high school, their hope is that it will be better for the next generation of soldiers.
I only hope so, because I really don't know. I just hope for the best.
Harry Forrestal, CBC News, Lincoln, New Brunswick.
Of all the veterans receiving a disability benefit related to service in Afghanistan, more than half are being compensated for PTSD. And the number of recipients has been rising steadily from fewer than 3,000 in 2014 to nearly 5,000 in 2017.
Go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. Subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/The National. The National Today takes you insider journalism every afternoon. Tonight on The National, we are keeping an eye on the situation in Sacramento, California. It was another night of protests after police shot and killed an unarmed black man 10 days ago. Police say they thought Stephon Clark was armed when they shot at him 20 times in his grandmother's backyard. But he didn't have a gun, just a cell phone. California's Attorney General has said his office will oversee the investigation into Clark's death. There's been another notable departure from the White House. This time, it's Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin. In a tweet, U.S. President Donald Trump said he's being replaced by White House physician, Dr. Ronnie Jackson. The president gave no specific reason for the shakeup, but his relationship with Shulkin had reportedly soured. Shulkin had been under fire for alleged spending abuses.
So we are taking bold steps, guided by our commitment to care. This is our responsibility.
And lagging in the polls and just months from an election, Ontario's Liberal Party is betting that billions in a big spending budget will help them stay in power. The focus, the government says, is on affordability. New spending announced today centered on dental care, prescription drugs, public transit, and seniors programs. But the catch, it'll plunge Ontario back into the red for at least 6 years.
Sometimes sports creates more magic than a scriptwriter would dare. And that's what happened in Montreal last night. A home run that connected one team's history with another's future. And as baseball fans across the country continue to marvel, it is our moment. That may be the loudest ovation ever at a baseball preseason game. With a swing of the bat, 19-year-old Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won the game for the Blue Jays last night. And here's the best part.
But that's the way he hits. Vladimir Guerrero to deep right center.
That's his dad, the last superstar for the Expos. He hit more than 200 homers for Montreal. But last night, he was just a proud father taking this video.
And can I just say, I moved to Montreal just a few months before the Expos left for good, left the city to move to Washington. And in the 10 years I lived in that city, people never stopped talking about baseball. The legacy of the Expos, bringing a team back, and I'm betting moments like this will keep that conversation going for a long time.
No kidding. And speaking of the moment last night, the game was tied. It actually wasn't that interesting a game. Bottom of the ninth inning, they weren't going to play extra innings. They were just going to end the game as a tie. And the manager was quoted as saying, kind of looked around the dugout, and he felt like it was meant to be, to put that 19-year-old kid in there to see if he could recreate what his dad had done in the past. And he did it.
Nice destiny and nice appetizer, as everybody knows, or maybe you don't. Tomorrow is the start of the season. Blue Jays have an opener here in Toronto against the Yankees, a team with lots of young stars. So giddy up, Blue Jays. That is the National for March 28th. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.